KCSE results. This is after, of course, a briefing President William Ruto has been in Uasin Gishu County conducting various development projects. And of course, our very own reporter, Wycliffe Okech, is on standby just to brief to us what is going on in Eldoret. And I want to hand you over to take you straight to Eldoret, where that particular event is ongoing.
Kweli ewe Mungu, wewe ni nguvu yetu. Tunasherehekea uwezo huo hata leo hii kama taifa, tunapotoa tamko ya uheri kwa kila mwanafunzi aliyepanda mbegu, na sasa there is a release of the harvest. God, we have seen you through the journey of the year. Every single page, you have known the details. And now today, it is the climax Kenya is waiting, so that all our students can walk into various pathways of success. And dear Lord God, our Father, we honor you for this national event today here in Chebisas, in Uasin Gishu, Kenya. And we thank you for our guests and the process. We are ready for you to speak to us and speak to this nation in this release point. I know, God, others will be celebrating more than others, but we know in our hearts, each one of us in your image is successful because you have a destiny for us all, because you have the best plan for each one of us. Now, God, we release ourselves to you in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. We will say amen.
Thank you very much, Bishop. You may be seated. Thank you. At this point, I will now hand over the rest of the program to the CEO, Kenya National Examinations Council, Dr. Devin Jengeri. CEO, please.
Thank you very much, Sarah. The Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education, the Principal Secretary, State Department for Basic Education, the Chair of the Kenya National Examinations Council, the CEO, Teacher Service Commission, and CEO COOPS, I can see her in the audience, members of the NEC Council who are present, I can see Mr. Koech is here, the various officials from the Ministry of Education, there are quite a number, officers from the Kenya National Examinations Council who accompanied me. Allow me to ask them to stand up. These ones are very important because they help me to deliver. That is Andrew Otieno, Sarah Kasana, Diana Makau, and Rona Kebati. Members of the press, these are very important people. If they are not there, I can't deliver anything. Our host principal, Albert Kosgei, thank you very much for the great job you have done to host us. On behalf of the Kenya National Examinations Council management, I wish to thank you all for being part of this very important occasion in the NEC calendar when we release the results of the 2025 KCSE examinations, a process that NEC has undertaken faithfully for the last 37 years. CSR, a total of 993,226 candidates sat the 2025 KCSE examination in 10,765 secondary school institutions across the country, And out of this population, 492,019 were male, while 501,214 were female. The candidates were tested in 30 subjects using a total of 74 papers, with the examination being administered in 24 days from the 21st of October to 21st of November 2025. For ease of administration, NEC used 633 distribution centers, what we commonly call containers, that are installed countrywide for daily distribution of the materials to the schools. Allow me at this point, CS, to recognize and appreciate the 100,447 contracted professionals who facilitate the field administration of the KCSE examination through their various roles. This included Ministry of Education and TSC officers, security officers, center managers, supervisors, invigilators, and drivers. The Council also engaged 30,980 examiners for the marking of the KCSE between 17th November and 18th December in 40 marking centers. We want to appreciate all the examiners. Please applaud them. They did an excellent job. NEC also wishes to recognize the support accorded by other ministries, departments, and agencies within government throughout the process, which culminated in the successful conduct of the examination. CSR, let me now turn to this year's examinations and assessments, because the rest will be handled by the CS, and say that our biggest challenge is always registration of candidates. And I wish to take this opportunity to invite every parent who has a child entering grade 6, grade 9, and Form 4 this year. Please take an interest in finding out if your child has been registered. We are going to open the portal for registration in February, and this will happen between February and March. CS, sometimes we get parents calling us a month to the exam saying, I've just discovered my child was not registered. That makes our life very difficult. So please, we want to appeal to all parents. Please make sure that you check with the institutions. If you have a child in grade 6, grade 9, and Form 4 this year, ensure your child has been registered. The next issue is that we will make an SMS platform available in the month of April so that every parent can confirm if their child has been registered. So by April, when the children come for their holidays, take an interest and ensure that your child has been registered. For senior school, CS, allow me to point out that NEC has made arrangements so that we have a platform, a portal, so that all teachers who are teaching in senior school can be able to take their time to develop their capacities around competency-based assessments. Please, all teachers teaching in senior school, we want to invite you to visit the NEC portal. The course is free, you don't pay anything, and it will help you a lot as you navigate the process of implementing the senior school curriculum. With that, CS, because I know that our candidates are very anxious and they are waiting to get their results, I will not say much, but I'll now invite the CEO, Teacher Service Commission, to come and make her remarks. And thereafter, I will invite the chair of the council to also make his remarks. Thank you.
Our Cabinet Secretary for Education, Honorable Julius Migos Ogamba, our Principal Secretary, Ambassador Professor Bitok, our chairperson, NEC, Professor Julius Nyabundi, the CEO NEC, and all other CEOs present, fellow NEC council members, senior staff from ministry and TSC, members of the press, good morning. Allow me at the onset to express the Teacher Service Commission deep appreciation to our teachers across the country. They are the men and the women who prepared the candidates, supervised and invigilated the examinations, and participated in the marking process. We do applaud your professionalism, your resilience, and the commitment that ensured that this national exercise was conducted with credibility, integrity, and fairness. In 2025, the Commission vetted and released 77,600 of you, comprising center managers, supervisors, invigilators, to man the national examination. I also want to take this opportunity to appreciate the multi-agency team that endured early mornings and long hours. You really put in a lot of long hours to support examination administration. You were very vigilant, you monitored, you supervised, and that is the reason why we are here today to confidently celebrate the seamless and successful completion of this exercise. We would not have done what we did without the leadership and direction of our CS, who is the lead in our sector, the Cabinet Secretary, Professor Bitok, the NEC Council. They provided the necessary stewardship and coordination of the multi-agency efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a milestone on the academic journey of the 2025 candidates countrywide. I congratulate each one of them for their discipline, for their perseverance and determination that brought them to this moment. As you receive your results, candidates, I encourage you to see the outcomes not as an end, but as a foundation upon which you build the next phase of your lives. Remain focused, stay curious, and continue to pursue excellence. On grade 10 transition, allow me to say this. We want to assure parents that all teachers are prepared to receive the grade 10 CBE candidates who will join senior school from Monday. Our teachers are adequately equipped with the competencies, with the skills, and the confidence required to meet the diverse learning needs of our CBE students. I appeal to our heads of institutions at senior school to broaden the curriculum. Of course, facilities allowing, we know some of you do not have the necessary facilities to ensure that learners joining senior school have the necessary facilitation to explore their potential in all areas of the curriculum. The Commission is determined to address the existing teacher shortages in the new learning areas. With those very few remarks, I want to urge all of us to remain steadfast in our resolve to provide every learner in Kenya with quality, relevant, and inclusive education. I want to wish all of you a prosperous 2026. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. I now want to invite the Chair of the Council, Professor Nyabundi, to come and make his remarks, and then invite the PS.
Good morning, all of you. I wish to recognize our CS, Honorable Julius Mungu-Sogamba, our PS, Ambassador Professor Julius Bitok. My name is Professor Julius Nyabundi. See those Julius. All other protocols observed. The CS, Mr. CS, the CEO of NEC has talked. The teachers and the schools did their work in preparing the candidates for the examinations. They did a good job at their level. NEC has done its job in setting, administering, and now being ready to release the results. Today, our role is to release these results as a realization of the ultimate fruit of these efforts. As the chairman of the council, I wish first and foremost to introduce my members who are here. It's a very powerful council. First of all, I have my first and foremost member is none other than my PS, Professor Ambassador. Please, everybody knows him by now. My other member is none other than the CEO of TSE, the largest employer in this country. There are other members who are not here today, but I have Mr. Zephaniah Koech, my member. And ultimately, we have the CEO of NEC himself, Dr. David Njegere, who has done a commendable job along with his members to bring us this far. We are here today to release results, and this responsibility is bestowed upon the CS, accompanied here with his senior members of the ministry and other agencies. I want to recognize my colleague, Dr. Wahome, who is in charge of COOPS, and anybody else who is here, any other CEO of the agencies who is here today. We appreciate your efforts. We all work together as a ministry. The responsibility of releasing these results is bestowed on the CS. And therefore, I want to take this opportunity to invite the PS, who will then invite the CS to do what we are all here for. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Our Minister, Waziri Julius Migos, our Chair of NEC Council, Professor Julius Nyabundi, our CEO, NEC and CEO TSE, all protocols observed. Good morning. Allow me at the beginning, Waziri, to thank you for your excellent leadership in this sector. We have seen a lot of coordination, a lot of positives in terms of how you have been able to manage and coordinate the sector. I don't know whether what the chair of NEC will say it is because of the Juliuses that follow each other. And the sector is really... You know, I say this because I got a call from one of the stakeholders who is in here a few days ago and said, for the first time in many years, he told me he's 25 years old in the profession, he has never seen capitation released before schools open. It's a record thing. So, you know, I'm new in the sector, but I'm home. So I'm delighted really this morning to be part of this important process of releasing results for 993,226 graduating class of 2025. The results are good, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the class of 2025 KCSE. Waziri, the state of competency-based education is strong. We are doing everything under your leadership to ensure that we put competence-based education on track. We know we are in the third last cohort of KCSE, but the future is really bright in matters of education in this country. We have been able to place 1.1 million learners transiting from junior school to senior school. We have given them an opportunity for the first time also to do their vast revision. For those who didn't like their pathways, we give them an opportunity. They have revised the first time, and we have given them also a second chance. If they didn't like again the first revision, we have given them a chance that is closing today. So these are record things. The system is very transparent. We are using a very open and digital and transparent process to be able to ensure that every learner in this country gets an opportunity to go to any school of their choice, depending on their capacity of these schools. Waziri, allow me also at this juncture to thank all the teams. These examinations of 2025 has been approached as a whole government approach. We have our teams from Ministry of Education, our field officers, we have our Ministry of Interior, including GAO, including the DCI, including the entire security apparatus of this country. We have our Ministry of ICT, including Communication Authority, and other stakeholders who have worked with us, which I want to thank very sincerely for the work they have done. As I wind up, Waziri, allow me at this point to assure all our stakeholders who participated in 2025 exam that we are working very closely with Treasury and their dues will be paid as soon as possible. We are working on that. Allow me also, Waziri, to say that the placements and the transition that we are doing, we are having a new system called Kenya Education Management Information System, which is helping us in the transition, and we are moving everybody. Soon and very soon, the entire education ecosystem will be under one digital platform, so that whatever thing you need to know in education, just at the click of the button, you can know the status of the results of your student, and you can know everything going on in the education sector. With those few remarks, Waziri, allow me also to emphasize that competence-based education is the education system that is going to transform this country from third world to first world. And it is real, and it's coming very, very soon. Let us now rise up, ladies and gentlemen, to invite our chief guest, who is the Minister for Education, Honorable Julius Bigos. Can we put our hands together to warmly welcome our Minister? Karibu sana, Waziri.
Thank you, PS. Please be seated. The Principal Secretary, the State Department for Basic Education, Ministry of Education, Ambassador Professor Julius Bitok, our area MP, Professor Phyllis Bartow, the Chairperson of the Kenya National Examinations Council, Professor Julius Nyabundi, the Chief Executive of the Kenya National Examination Council, Dr. David Njengere, the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Teachers Service Commission, Dr. Evelyn Mitei, the CEO of KUPS, Dr. Mercy Wahome, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning again. Ladies and gentlemen, examination and assessments have always stood at the heart of education. They serve not merely as a measure of learning, but as a compass that guides the nation's future. As the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, KCSE examination draws to a close with the phasing out of the 844 system, we recognize its historic role in shaping generations of learners. Yet, education must always evolve to meet the demands of a dynamic world. The transition to competency-based assessment marks a decisive step forward, one that shifts our focus from rote memorization to the demonstration of skills, values, and knowledge that empower learners to thrive in the 21st century. It is in this spirit of transition that we gather today to mark the release of the results of the third to last cohort to undertake the KCSE examination, even as we celebrate the progression of the very first cohort under the competency-based education into senior school this coming Monday. This moment stands as both a culmination of a long-standing tradition and the dawn of a new era, affirming our collective commitment to assessments that not only measure achievement, but also nurture the competencies required for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to extend my profound gratitude to all sector stakeholders who year after year have demonstrated unwavering dedication in preparing our KCSE candidates and ensuring the successful and seamless administration of the national examinations. Their commitment has safeguarded the credibility of our examination system and upheld the high standards that define our education system. Let me take this opportunity to acknowledge the concerted efforts of colleagues across the Ministries of Education, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, and Information, Communication and the Digital Economy, as well as the Teacher Service Commission during the administration of the 2025 KCSE examination series. In the same vein, may I commend all the center managers, supervisors, and invigilators for their integrity and diligence that have made this examination cycle a success. Today, as we release results for 993,226 candidates, I wish to register my sincere appreciation to His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for his trust and steadfast support in enabling our team to implement critical reforms in the education sector. These reforms are geared towards transforming the delivery of learning and teaching in order to nurture and build every learner's potential and to equip them with the skills and competencies necessary for life in the 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, the government has employed a record 100,000 teachers since 2023, with 24,000 of these teachers recruited this year. A record total of over 25,000 teachers have also been promoted. To better prepare our teachers for the rollout of the competency-based education, our teachers have been retooled and reoriented to the new system. The primary objective is to strengthen teaching and learning in our schools and consequently to improve our education outcomes. In order to enhance access, we are expanding infrastructure across our basic education institutions. In the financial year 2024-2025, we built a record 23,000 classrooms across the country to support the transition of the first grade 9 cohort. This year, we will construct a total of 1,600 laboratories in various senior schools in order to support practical learning. To anchor these reforms on a solid legal and policy foundation, we will soon be presenting a sessional paper and 11 bills to Parliament for consideration and enactment. Once passed, this will help entrench efficiency and effectiveness in our education system and affirm its competitiveness globally. We also continue to support our learners with capitation in fulfillment of the government's obligation to provide free and compulsory basic education. For this school year, for instance, we released the sum of 44.2 billion shillings as capitation for learners in all public basic education institutions ahead of school opening. This is the first time that capitation has been disbursed before schools open. Heads of institutions are expected to ensure prudent use of these public resources for the benefit of learners and to desist from imposing any extra levies or fees upon parents. The candidates whose results we release today are now expected to transit to tertiary institutions, either in universities or TVET institutions. At the tertiary level, we are implementing the student-centered funding model by which the government supports students and trainees by way of scholarships and loans depending on the level of need of each learner. To enhance access and affordability, fees for academic programs in our public universities have also been rationalized by between 15% and 40%, so that the fees for university education programs range from 5,800 to 75,000 per semester, depending on the program of study. I call upon all eligible candidates, therefore, to apply for placement to programs of their choice once the process starts. I now wish to provide an overview of the performance of the 2025 KCSE examinations cohort. Ladies and gentlemen, during the 2025 KCSE examinations, 993,226 candidates sat the examination compared to 962,512 candidates in the year 2024. This represents an increase by 30,714 candidates, which is an increase of 3.19%. Of the 993,226 candidates who sat the 2025 KCSE examinations, 492,012 were male, while 501,214 were female, representing 49.54% and 50.46% of the total candidature, respectively. This is the second year in a row since inception of the KCSE examinations that female candidates are more than male candidates. However, 10 counties had a significant entry of more male than female candidates. These were Garissa, which had 66.24% to 33.76%. Mandera had 65.09% to 34.91%. Wajir had 60.10% to 39.90%. Turkana had 57.67% to 42.33%. Narok had 53.10% to 46.90%. Samburu had 52.43% to 47.57%. Mombasa had 52.08% to 47.92%. Homa Bay had 52% to 48%. Nyamira had 51.9% to 48.03%, and West Pokot had 51% to 48.16%. 14 counties had a significant entry of more female than male candidates. These were Vihiga, which had 55.905% to 44.10%. Elgeyo Marakwet had 55.06% to 44.94%. Kisumu had 53.87% to 46.15%. Kiambu had 53.23% to 46.77%. Kwale had 53.19% to 46.81%. Nairobi had 52.90% to 47.10%. Kakamega had 52.47% to 47.53%. Meru had 52.22% to 47.78%. Isiolo had 52.21% to 47.79%. Uasin Gishu had 52.14% to 48.26%. Busia had 51.72% to 48.28%, and Tharaka Nithi had 51.57% to 48.43%. 23 counties, however, recorded near perfect gender parity, which counties were Lamu, Marsabit, Embu, Tana River, Laikipia, Kisii, Baringo, Migori, Trans Nzoia, Nandi, Kajiado, Taita Taveta, Kericho, Siaya, Kilifi, Bomet, Nyeri, Nyandarua, Murang'a, Nakuru, Kirinyaga, Bungoma, and Makueni. The number of candidates aged 16 years and below increased from 20,546, which was 2.13% in the year 2024, to 26.391 or 26,391, which is 2.65% in the year 2025. The highest percentage of candidates registered for 2025 KCSE examinations were within the appropriate age bracket of between 17 and 19 years, constituting 716,048, which is 72.02% of the total candidature. In the year 2025 KCSE examinations, 17 subjects recorded a significant improvement in performance, similar to the number of subjects that recorded significant improvement in 2024. 11 subjects recorded a significant decline in performance in the year 2025 compared to 10 in 2024. Female candidates recorded better mean score performance than male candidates in the following 6 subjects. That is English, Kiswahili, Kenya Sign Language, Home Science, CRE, and Arts and Design. Male candidates recorded better mean score performance than female candidates in 11 subjects, namely Mathematics, Alternatives A and B, Biology, and Biology for the Blind, Chemistry, General Science, History and Government, Geography, IRE, Building and Construction, and Business Studies. The performance of male candidates was comparable to their female counterparts in the following 7 subjects: physics, agriculture, computer studies, French, German, Arabic, and music. The number of female candidates registered in the following 5 subjects was too small to allow for a meaningful comparison of performance with their male counterparts. That is metalwork, power mechanics, electricity, drawing and design, and aviation technology. As has been the case since 2023, KCSE examination, the 2025 KCSE examination results have been graded using the reviewed grading system in which the overall grade at KCSE examination considers mathematics, the best performing language among English, Swahili, and Kenyan Sign Language, and the best performed 5 subjects. There were 1,932, which is 0.19% candidates who obtained an overall mean grade A plain in the year 2025 KCSE examination. This is an improvement as compared to 1,693, which is 0.18% candidates who scored plain A in 2024. The number of candidates with direct university entry qualifications of mean grade C+ and above was 270,715, which is 27.18% in the year 2025 KCSE examination. This is an improvement compared to 246,391, which was 25.53% in the year 2024. The number of candidates with grade C- and above was 507,131, which is 50.92% in the year 2025 KCSE examination, compared to 476,889, which was 49.41% in the year 2024. The number of candidates attaining a pass grade, which is grade D+ and above, was 634,082, which is 63.67% in the year 2025, compared to 605,774, which is 62.76% in the year 2024. National schools produced the highest number of candidates with an overall mean grade of A, which was 1,526, followed by extra county schools, which had 197, and private schools, which had 185. Sub-county schools, however, produced more candidates in the category of C+ and above compared to county schools, accounting for 72,699 and 36,600 respectively. I wish to reiterate that our stand on the integrity of examinations in November last year, we indicated that there were reported cases under investigation and that action would be taken upon conclusion of the investigations. At the conclusion of the KCSE examination, 1,180 candidates were found to have been involved in examination irregularities. Consequently, and in line with the applicable law and regulations, their examination results have been cancelled. Individual candidates' examination results will be accessed online through a link on the NEC website or directly through the following link: results.nec.ac.ke, and candidates will be required to enter their index number and one of their names as per the registration data for the 2025 KCSE examination. The results will be live and accessible immediately after the end of this function. It is now my humble duty and privilege to declare the 2025 KCSE examination results officially released. I wish all the candidates success in their future endeavors, and to all of you, Happy New Year, thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together again for Waziri. Thank you very much, Waziri, for now as we prepare for the transition to the official handover of the results. Allow me to recognize our area member of parliament, Honorable Phyllis Barto, who is also the committee member of the National Assembly Oversighting Education. Professor Barto, welcome. Maybe you can come and say hi to your people. You can just come and say hi. Yeah, for 1 or 2 minutes, and then Waziri now will finalize the remaining part of the program. Karibu, Professor.
Thank you, PS. Let me ride on the protocol already observed and use this opportunity to welcome all of us to Chebisas High School. Chebisas is the only national school in Moiben constituency. And Buenos Aires, it's a great honor for you to bring the results, the release of results to Moiben constituency this day. And I'm glad that I have heard that the students or our schools in this region were not involved in any examination malpractice. And I want to thank our principals, our teachers, and all those who participated in the examinations, the security, all the way, for a very credible exercise. And I'm very proud, as the area member of parliament, I'm very proud of my people of Moiben constituency. I want to take this opportunity also to congratulate all the students in Kenya whose results are being released today. And I want to encourage them that there is no result which is not good. All results are good, and they prepare us for different pathways. So we celebrate ourselves. Even completing high school is an achievement on its own. So I want to congratulate all our students as they prepare their careers henceforth, those who will go to universities, those who will go to TVETs, and those who will pursue different careers in their lives. This is just the beginning, and all will be well. I want to also congratulate my candidates from Moiben constituency, and I know the choice of Moiben constituency to release the results is an indication that the results from our constituency are improved. That's an indication that we improved. So I want to thank everybody, and karibuni sana. Asanteni.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for area member of parliament and member of committee of education for national assembly. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. Pass our regards to the entire committee. As the CS has said, we really appreciate the support we received from the Committee of Education in the National Assembly. Asante sana. It's now my humble duty again to invite Waziri to do now the ceremony. Let us wait a little bit. It's not going to be a long ceremony of presentation of these results. Karibu Waziri.
Thank you very much, everyone. We'll now have the final prayer, and the person doing the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. As it is the order, let us complete with a prayer. And our prayer, before we have the
that's it. The 2025 KCSE results have been official.
And I wish to take this opportunity on behalf of all
Julius Ogamba, and that happened at AIC Chebisas High School in Eldoret, Uasin-Gishu County, where also the president has been camping for a number of days. And as you heard from the cabinet secretary, 993,226 candidates sat for the 2025 KCSE, and out of 990,000, 50%, of course, girls.
And we want to say, going forward, we will be looking forward for you decentralizing the release of results to different areas, and more so in Uasin-Gishu. Two, I want to thank Wasiri for the support that he has been giving to this school. Wasiri, you are here in March, and you are here again today. And going by your word that you said in the boardroom, that next time you come to this school, you would expect our complex to be complete. This is a challenge to our peers and all of us, the stakeholders concerned. And I'm happy that even as we release KCSE 2026, possibly when you come to Uasin-Gishu again, you'll get that complex complete. I want to thank the Ministry of Education for the reforms that we are making. We have a very digitized system of admission, and we are seeing the reforms that we are making in the ministry. We want to really appreciate, on behalf of all my colleagues, the principals, I want to applaud the ministry for what you are doing. We look forward to a seamless transition from grade 9 to grade 10, and as I stand here, Chebisas Boys is on the lead, fully prepared to receive the candidates, to receive the students of grade 10 on Monday. Finally, I want to thank our Teacher Service Commission for the work that they are doing to ensure that all our schools are staffed in our country. Thank you so much. Thank you all the stakeholders. Thank you so much the Board of Management of Chebisas Boys, led by our chairman.
And that was the 2025 KCSE results being released from AIC Chebisas Boys Already High School in Eldoret, Uasin-Gishu County by Cabinet Secretary for Education Julius Ogamba, of course, being flanked by the PS Education Professor Julius Bitok. Of course, the NEC officials, and of course the CEO and even the chairperson, and of course the area leaders are there in Uasin-Gishu County. And so 993,226 candidates sat for 2025 KCSE. And out of that number, 50%, actually more than 50% were girls, and of course about 49.9% were boys. So more girls sat for that particular exam more than boys. And of course another figure is that 270,000 attained a grade of C+ and above and securing direct entry to university. And my name is Giverson Minor, and I do have an able panel of education experts Here with me in studio, Mr. Dendi Henry, education expert and author. Of course, he is also a lecturer at Karatina University, and Mwalimu Kombo Kikech, education expert and author. Welcome so much to our studios to help us make, of course, draw perspective to as a result to of the 2025 KCSE results.
Thank you.
Karibu sana, Mr. Henry. We have first your opening remark. What do you make of the 2025 KCSE results?
Yeah, it's good to point out that this is a process culminating into the end of 844 system. Definitely, our learners had an opportunity to study the first 8 years in the primary school, and they have had an opportunity to also study the 4 years in high school, awaiting an opportunity to go into the next stage, which is the last 4, and that concludes the 844 system. But first, to begin with, we want to congratulate all of them. I think this has been a tremendous opportunity. Those of us who had an opportunity to go through the Catholic teachings, we had others mocking colleagues if you couldn't complete the cycle of what you intended to have in the learning. So for all the learners who have had an opportunity to study to this level to conclude their Form 4, congratulations. It takes a milestone and it takes courage. You have colleagues who dropped out as a result of various issues, but since you've had an opportunity to get where you go to, congratulations.
Mwalimu Kombo.
Yeah, I think we need to thank the teachers and all the stakeholders who've done at least a tremendous job in terms of preparing these particular students. We have those guys who overstayed at the examination centers. Then we also have the marking centers and making sure that the data is collected, the scripts are marked, and then also analysis is done. And we've seen about how the minister was doing the analysis. Actually, it's a lot of data collected from over 900 candidates for this year. You see that every year there's an improvement, and we can also be able to see some of apart from the giant schools, we have the small schools who have also be able to produce at least A. You find that national schools at least had over 500, but we also the other A that came from the other schools. So that tells us that teachers have done a good job in terms of preparing this in such a way that we also have among the top candidates across the country have come from also those particular schools.
Now, out of 270,000 who attained a grade of C+, and hence securing direct entry to university, out of this number, 70,000 are from day schools.
Sure.
And so about 200,000 are from boarding schools.
Sure.
What does this say?
Yeah, that communicates a thing, that you can achieve any grade in any school you study, and I think that will be a very important message for us going forward, especially now that we have grade 10 learners joining. They can be comfortable in any school, and as I always say, our teachers have been trained by the same people and the same system. So they are capable of delivering the best results in any school they go to or they are posted in. So as a learner, wherever you are posted, wherever you are placed, wherever you have an opportunity to study, this is also an opportunity for you to showcase what you are capable of delivering, in spite of whether you are in high school that is in a boarding, a national school, an extra county, or a C1, C2, or even C4. Having these results posted, good results posted from these other schools, the day schools, is a challenge to those who are in the day schools today, that they can achieve anything better despite of where they are.
Yeah. And
but okay, when you also look at the issue about it also sounds a lot, especially when it comes to the infrastructure. Because when you look at those ones from boarding schools, we had a big percentage from the data that has been released. So that tells us that the students in a boarding school, once because of the environment and then the structures, so they could be able to perform better than those in a day school. So I think it all sounds big in such a way that those ones in a day school, they can be able to go out and see how they can be able to improve the results. So at least the gap, at least we'll be able to reduce the gap from 200 to 70,000. That's a big gap. Probably we could have had around 10 or 5%. I think that's okay. But also that tells us about our society and how parents are supposed to conduct themselves. So I think they should also be able to go back and be able to find out why is this particular student from the day school are not performing well. Probably the absenteeism, or probably the issue of timing and all that. When they are on the road, they are walking to school, and this one probably they are studying, and probably at home. Yeah, you see, they come from which background for this particular day school? Probably there's no light. I saw a student in Turkana who was using the floodlights to study. And then it goes back. So that student stayed up to around 10 p.m. I think it was on one of it's one on the media. So we can be able to see and on how this can be able to be rectified, so that this one, the number also in day schools, at least they can be able to reduce that particular gap. I think that will work out well. So they can be able to go and find out what's actually affecting these particular students. So if the data can be done on that one, I think that will be okay. So it's about the stakeholders to go and do that.
Everson, I don't know if you allow me just to echo what my brother said.
Yeah.
I think this is a challenge to the government and the establishments that are offering infrastructure to learners. Let us equip all these institutions to a capacity that can help them deliver results that do not show much disparity. Yeah. So if we can equip the day schools to, I've heard a statement from the CS saying they intend to develop 1,600 laboratories. This is part of equipping. If we can equip these day schools to a level that they can deliver, if not equivalent, but closer to what the national schools are delivering, then we are improving our education.
Yeah, there shouldn't be this disparity between 200,000 from boarding schools and then only 70,000 from day schools manage to secure entry to universities. And then away from that, 1,932 scored straight A's. But the issue here is the national schools manage 1,526 students scoring straight A's. The county schools managed 197, and then the rest of the schools manage 185. Of course, as we go, even as the discussion is that it doesn't matter which school, whether it's a county school or it's a national school, but a school is a school, still, this is so huge number, and I don't think parents will of course depart from struggling to have their kids going to national school. 1,526 from national schools manage straight A's. Mr. Ndidi.
Yeah, that is true, and it speaks to what we are just conversing, or the discussion we had, that we need to equip these schools to a level that they are competing in a manner that suggests they are studying the same curriculum. But if we see the kind of disparities we are seeing, then we can't run away from the jostles we are experiencing at the moment of every parent struggling to ensure that their son or daughter gets to a C1 or C2 school. And that speaks to what we need to intentionally do as a country, especially in investing in the educational infrastructure, supervision, and anything that qualifies to bring good grades and good results. As I hinted earlier, our students are studying the same curriculum. If it was 844, it's 844 to all of them, using the same books and teachers trained in the same manner and from the same institutions. So what causes this disparity? Much of infrastructural development and how much we have invested time in supervising what goes on in these schools. So if we can do that, then definitely there will be an improvement. If you ask me to flip to the other side, I would actually be asking that all schools should be converted into day schools rather than boarding and national schools, so that learners can achieve from any angle of achievement from these schools.
Yeah. Combo.
Yeah, I think all is about the quality of the teachers in the national school, the infrastructure. It's far much better than what is in the other schools, and that's why you find that they are performing better. Yeah, these schools, they also have the population. You know, the population will be able to enable them to be able to carry out the activity. Then we also have the government support, we have the good leadership in those particular institutions. So it now propels these particular candidates to to do well. And when you look at some of the infrastructure, some of the resources that the other schools need, you find that the national schools are far much better off. They have very strong the alumni and who be able to support this particular institution. We also have the government itself. You find that it focuses so much. I saw one of the professors recently was saying that if learning is not taking place in this particular institution, then in these particular schools, he was mentioning about Kenya High and Alliance, he was saying that learning is not taking place. So that tells us that actually the major focus is in these particular schools. And you see now, that now brings up the competition from why the parents, the parents for grade 9, now they are taking their students to grade 10 for admission. So you find that most of them might change their mind now, say, it's okay, national schools are doing better from what the minister has released. So I better now struggle, delay a bit and see if I can be able to secure at least an admission in these particular schools. So when you look at that, when they have these particular resources, this can be able to have additional teachers. We have I think one of the factors probably they didn't point out, some of these schools, they don't have enough teachers. And so these particular students that have enough resources can be able to get extra teachers. These are teachers who are under the board of management. So the national schools can be able to secure that because of the population and all that. They can be up extra. So if we go to this particular school, we even have as much as 40 teachers under the board of management, and they are being paid well, and they are doing a great job. Unlike the other schools whereby you get a teacher who has an overload, subject, and even some of the subject probably they can stay for some time without a teacher. So that really affects the performance. Assume there's a teacher who is handling probably more than 40 lessons. And this particular national school, actually is handling 18 lessons. So you see now he has more time to attend to the student based on this particular curriculum, the 844 curriculum, which is a bit bulky. It requires quite a number of hours so that the student can be able to be able to be managed well. The instruction can be done very well, as unlike where they have in an institution where we have a teacher who is handling so many and cannot be able to have that personal attention to this particular student. So the instruction now becomes also an issue as compared to the national school. And that's why it's being reflected on the research that the minister has just released here today. Yeah.
Of course, we're having our reporters stand by from AIC Chebisaz High School in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County, Wycliffe Okech, and once he is ready to update us, of course, we'll allow him to do that. But as we continue this discussion, also my panels here, is that boys, or rather, let's go to girls first. Girls performed better in these particular subjects, and this is languages, basically English, Kiswahili, Kenya Sign Language, home sciences. But boys beat them this time down in sciences, in mathematics, biology, chemistry, history, and of course geography, business, and general sciences. Are girls running away from sciences? Mr. Ndindi?
It's an opportunity for us to speak to our girls. Let them not get scared or scare away from the STEM subjects. I think it's evident from what the CS has presented that they are running away from the STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, because there was also a mention of metalwork and general science, among others. They ran away from that. But this is an opportunity to challenge them. They can still qualify or do well or perform well in those subject areas, learning areas. However, I don't think this is out of the ordinary. This has been the norm for a very long time. The male gender has been performing better in the science, mathematics, among others. But in that performance, it has been challenging the girl child also to wake up and perform in those areas. We are able to use languages here, and we are not delegating the language performance to the girls, because this is an opportunity for all of us to showcase whether we are capable of using languages well and performing well in the languages. Now, there should not be a define or a boundary that sets definition for what a girl should perform and a boy should perform. Now that they study these subjects together under the same teachers or guided by the same teachers, instructors, they are capable of performing if they put in that effort. However, it is interesting that IRE, I took in interest, IRE was performed better by boys than girls, and CRE was performed better by girls than boys. This also speaks to a challenge that we need to interrogate as a people in the education sector. What do we think will attract boys into IRE learning and doing better, and girls, even from the same religion, never perform better in the same subject. I think it's something that will desire that we investigate or do a survey on that, and what will attract ladies to a CRE more than boys to that. Despite the fact that all the pastors that we have, most of the pastors that we have are male. So what would be the controversy going forward? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, now from based on that particular data, it tells a lot about the female gender and why I don't know why they are running away from the science subject. Two, we also have from this particular the schools. You find that we have the more girls sat for exam this particular year. So and they are cut across among the schools. So we also need to look at, and this particular even the national schools, who are these teachers who are teaching the science subject? Are they the male teachers or the female teachers? So if they are the male teachers, probably they're already getting a negative attitude towards this particular ladies, the female gender from tackling those particular subjects. And if majority of them came from the boarding school, from the day schools, then that tells us that probably the infrastructure is not good for practical sessions. And I've been able to interact with this particular system, especially with the American system and the Canadian system. Okay, when you look at on the science subject, you see now this particular the child is subjected early enough into science subjects. Probably in primary schools, this particular student, they are given tasks to go and research and then carry out and come and present. So it starts early. But when you look at the Kenyan system, these things come from Form 1, Form 2. And probably in some of the schools, you find that the issue of the lab is not well managed, it's not well prepared. So we find that the issue of the science subject becomes an issue. And if the majority of them are coming from these particular day schools, then they also probably just tell us they cannot be able, they prefer to sit for the science, the humanity subjects other than the science subject. So, but the issue is the stakeholders need to go back now and subject this particular system into be science oriented. Though when you look at the CBC, the CBE, already what they have done, you find that we have STEM, and they have said around 60% of the schools should be able to take STEM. So I think probably as we move on now, we move on from 844 to CBC system, then we'll have more girls than they are doing science subject than the boys. Probably they can also be able to look at the system, how do they want to handle the science subject. They can start early, probably in primary school, they start from the practical session starts from the primary. Then when they go to high school, they have already chosen their path. So we'll have more ladies choosing STEM than the boys. So probably the results of this year, when they release the grade 10 results, because they'll be sitting for SBA in August, so we'll be able to know how many girls sat for science subject and how many sat for humanity subject. So if that pathway, if they have taken the same pathway, then tell us probably the future is bright for the girls' gender in science subjects.
And now, even as we talk about boys and girls, we also, of course, the peers and even the Cs have said that the students who sat for KCSE exams, they've been allowed some more time to review their pathways, because some are not comfortable going into the STEM, some are not comfortable going into the social subjects into that direction. And so when we have that data, then we'll be able to see where girls want to go and even where more boys want to go. But as we continue, there is also this other fact about girls and boys, that there are more girls in these particular counties, in Garissa, in Mandera, in Wajir, and these are largely northeastern counties, and of course Turkana, Samburu, Narok, West Pokot. These seem to be quite hardship areas, save for Mombasa, Homa Bay and Nyamira. Those three counties, they're not hardship areas, but the rest are hardship areas. There were more boys here. There are more boys here or girls? I think there are more boys here.
Yes.
Yeah. So there were less girls here.
What
does it say? Does it mean that girls in these particular counties did not sit for these exams, or they dropped, or maybe they did not go to schools in these particular counties?
Yeah, it speaks to some of the challenges that our communities face or go through. Some of them emanate from cultural orientation, and some of them as a result of religion to an extent. Especially the merger between religion and cultural orientation, where we're expecting the girl child at a level, if they get into puberty or adolescence, for instance, we want to see them married. That becomes a challenge. Then that will speak to a reason to why some of them drop out of school earlier and are unable to finish Form 4, for example. That will speak to the component of early marriages, and among other challenges that our country is facing, especially as a result of cultural orientation. Then it is also important to note that some of these areas we refer to as hardship areas. That hardship trickles down to the gender. If the area is referred to as a hardship area, who is more likely to survive in a hardship area than the other? Then that might also tickle the advantage to the boy child in such areas, especially if the parenting is not managed in the right manner. And what we can say currently, even with the lower numbers that you are seeing, we still see improvement, because the situation was quite worse some times back. We have witnessed improvements from time to time, and now today we can point at an improvement, whether it is coming in at a lesser percentage, but it is an improvement in those numbers in those regions. Yes.
Mwalimu Kombo. Yeah, the way our lecturer in India said, it's about the issue of the cultural. And I'm happy to hear counties like Elgeyo Marakwet, we have the Marsabit, we have Baringo, Isiolo, Garissa. You see now this quite improved in terms of reducing the gap. Because initially when you look at the previous years and you look at the data, the way the minister was releasing the results, you could be able to see that the male the gap was as huge as 30 to 40%. But now you can be able to see Elgeyo, we have Isiolo, we have more girls now going to school than the boys. And this was emanated from the distance. So one of the reasons was given from the distance of those particular schools. The schools were far much apart. And now these girls walking to school was a challenge. But I think as we move on, the schools have been brought up closer to the communities. And even the communities that used to migrate with the animals, like from the Kajiado and all that, you find that now that thing now is moving away. Now I think more also working on probably on settled communities. So it's now easy for these particular girls to go to school. And the population now is cutting up. Even the issue of the female genital mutilation and early marriages, I think we also have groups that have gone into particular groups and they have really been fighting it. And now when you look at this particular data, the minister now is shown that actually it's reducing. Even some have also surpassed now. The girls are more in school. Because when you look at the Kenyan population, it has the way the minister has released, we have more girls going to school than the boys. So we also expect these particular regions, we have more girls in school. But when you see a region where I have slightly more boys in school, then tells us, okay, there's a challenge, and probably now the stakeholders might all now move in and see what is making these girls not to be less to be in school, but probably from the old data, they were supposed to at least have equal across the country, more girls in school than the boys. But like Nairobi is expected, where we have equal gender going back to school because they are more informed. Thank you.
Perhaps you're saying the government should now put more focus into these areas where girls seems not maybe to be dropping out or not to be going in school.
Yeah, definitely. Government will need to invest in establishing data on what probably contributes to the lower numbers of girls in these regions, and look at the remedies. How can this be mitigated going forward? We are moving into a system where we want to see opportunities for all of them, because that is where we are. So if that is what we intend to see in our schools, that is what we intend to see in our country, then definitely we want to invest time, resources, data to ensure that we have both boys and girls in schools.
Now, as he went on to release the KCSE results, CS for Education Julius Ogamba said that 44.2 billion shillings capitation for schools have already been released much earlier, even before the school reopening. This is good news, Mwalimu Kombo.
Yeah, it's good news for for schools because they are preparing to receive grade 10 students, so they can have this grade 10 can reach at school, and once they join their resources, because they need to buy the desk, probably they want to repair the beds and all that. So I think that's good news for the parents and also for the schools, especially for those ones who are joining the schools. But when you look at the population, there's never been an issue, especially when it comes to admission. But I think the minister has done something good, and probably that was in their minds, knowing that we're going to have double probably admission in those particular schools. So I think it's worked out well. But we have been having issues, complaints about the capitation. But I think they have done a commendable job for that.
They have. Even as you chip in,
yes.
you also add this point, but even as this money has been, capitation is released, but after some while, you hear some schools saying they have received even 10,000 shillings.
Okay, I think, sorry, for that, I think we have an issue where there's a time the minister came and clarified. He's talking about the data. The data they have given is equivalent to what they have been given. So they need to go back and look at the data they are supposed to release to the Jogo. So once they release the data, the right data, they always get the right capitation.
Indeed.
The devil is always in the detail. I'm interested in how this 44.2 billion is distributed. And if I were to speak to what my brother Kikechi has said, that probably this was speculative of the admissions that we are going to have for grade 10. So which data have we used to place how much where? And how much are we stealing from the usual corruption that even the PS spoke to, that we are losing 2 billion every year to this? So how much are we sealing this? And that is why I say the devil is in the detail. But anyway, that in itself, having the capitation released earlier or before the schools open, is a good gesture. Only that the detail needs to speak to what these schools need.
Yeah. And of course, you also spoke about schools, teachers being retooled, and this is, I think, is in connection to the KCSE. I think is the grade 10, the grade 9 who sat for KCSE exams. Now they're heading to grade 10, which you said, I think it's now Form 2.
An equivalent to Form 2
yes. 2 now.
Yes.
And do you think the teachers are ready? Because I think are these now junior secondary schools teachers, or the teachers that we know of the formerly secondary school?
We have had a problem.
Secondary school.
Yes, we have had a problem in our country that we are lackluster in implementing what we know is coming ahead of us. We ought to have prepared these teachers quite early enough, and the component of retooling that you're referring to, I mean, all of us knew that at some point these learners will transit from the junior school to senior school, and in senior school they're going into secondary schools. So we ought to have started preparing teachers who are teaching at this level early enough. Fortunate or unfortunate enough, I think we have started it late, but that only challenges us to work with very much speed, a very high speed, especially in ensuring that these teachers are equipped to deliver the content. Fortunate enough, teachers are flexible, they can learn, they can unlearn, they can relearn. And if we place them into good environments that secure their learning and relearning, or tooling and retooling, then definitely they can only take a week or two. But teachers, I think this is also an opportunity to speak to you. Please let us not harbor the attitude of being unreceptive to the new system. So let's look at what the country's focus is. Let us look at where the globe is headed and ensure that we are supporting our country and supporting our system, deliver this education to our learners with the focus of where we are going.
Yeah. And talking of that, Mwalimu Kombo, even you also tell us, formerly or what you call now the senior secondary, the physical classes in the physical schools, what do we have now? Do we have now grade 10 who are supposed to be joining, I think, next week?
Next week,
and then now the Form 3
and Form 4.
And Form 4.
We have
so
two more classes. They're under the 844 education system. Yeah, so we'll be having these teachers who will be moving from the 844 to the CBC, just the way the primary were doing initially, when we had the last groups of grade standard 6 to 8, when we were having standard, grade 3, grade 4 in primary schools. So it's now come to high school as they wind up for the next 2 years. So, well, when you look at the whole system, I think the government prepared far much earlier. And we have the ministers, the late Magoha, the Amina, who were there initially, and they did a very good job, even Machogu, when he was there. He made sure that the secondary teachers, as much as they were preparing those ones in junior school and the primary school for the system, the CBC system, they're also doing it for the high school. And it started way back in 2023, whereby these particular teachers were being invited in sub-county and were being done in different schools. So we have education experts who are coming to particular schools, and they are converging those schools within the sub-counties and training them on how they are going to handle the candidates. So as late as December, from 15 to around 22nd, they were doing routine for the last batch of the high school teachers, ready to receive the grade 10 students under the CBC system. So so far so good. At least a good number of teachers in secondary school have been prepared to handle the CBC system, and they have also been trained in such a way that they can be able to move from the 844 and 844. There's no problem. But when you look at the primary teachers, and having contributed so much to the JS, the JS system, where I've written the books and all that, and I was being invited to those particular schools probably to talk to some teachers. Though we also have some schools who are doing their own private retooling, where they invite an expert to come and talk with their teacher. And I think that one has been, especially in private schools and these national schools, where they have done their, apart from the government retooling, they have also done their own private, where they invite someone to come and talk to their teachers on how to handle the system. But when you look at the last group of the JS and the 844, the last group, you find that they are being subjected into CBC system, whereby even the classroom, when you go to those particular, you're under the 844, yes, but you see now when you even go classroom, the setup, they already changed the seating arrangement of this. So this particular teacher, they didn't have a problem moving from the CBC to 844, because the teaching and even the students were really enjoying the one under the 844 system. And we find that when the last group, even they look at the results, it was so good. So that tells us this particular system of the CBE is a better system than the 844, as per the current situation on how the world is moving. Yeah.
But we are yet to see the results. Right?
No, we have already seen the results. Yeah, we have the exiting expectation, meeting expectation, and we can be able to see.
Then product after university.
After the university. And
I
that's
agree.
the challenge with the 844 system, whereby the system is so bulky, the curriculum is so bulky, in such a way that the student focus so much on the curriculum that doesn't meet the expectation of the market. So the labor market and the skills they acquired from the classroom is not equivalent matching with the labor market. I think that's a big issue. And now the 844, the CB system has come in such a way that this particular student from school will be able to meet the requirement of the labor market, and that's what's being done now, where the students are involved in tasks and they have their research, and they're also doing the practical session. So when they go to labor market, it meets the requirement. I think that's what 844 has been. It has been a good system, yes, because when you look at these students who have gone even to the foreign countries, you see that they have been doing so well, they have been fitting so well, and they have been far much ahead than the students in those particular countries. But now the biggest problem was the labor market, the skills. I think the guys who came up with the particular system, they missed that one out, but the system was good.
I agree with my brother on a number of issues. One, infrastructure-wise, we are ready. In senior schools, we are ready because 2 classes have been freed.
Yes.
We don't have Form 1s, we don't have Form 2s. So classes or classrooms that were occupied by this have been freed. Now, infrastructure-wise, we are ready. Then the number of teachers who are going to handle them, again, I want to believe that if we had a gap of over 75%, we have reduced it to 50%.
Yes.
Because teachers who would be handling Form 1 and Form 2 have also been freed. So we expect to have enough teachers to handle these learners as they go in. However, there are a number of things that we have not done in our country, especially in preparing teachers who are going to handle these learners. My brother talked of retooling. It was haphazardly done, and to be honest, if you've had conversations with teachers across the country, they have spoken to non-readiness to take on this system. And probably that was part of resistance, and that is why we have said they need to be receptive of the system to look at where the country is focused and where the globe is headed and contribute to that as opinion leaders. And I also agree with him that...
I'm happy to say it's done. Yeah, it's been done. The thing has been done. You see, I think now we are on the same wavelength. Yeah. So it's done, it's done. Fine. Yeah.
If something is done, it's done. But if it's done haphazardly, and those who have received it are not confident enough to execute what they have received, then that speaks to the gaps that we are referring to. And teachers, please be receptive. Look at the focus of where the country is, and please support the government head there. On addressing the skills mismatch and the skills gap, that is why we've talked of relearning and learning and relearning. So you learn and learn and relearn. Let us always accept to learn and relearn, because our world is not rigid. We grew up in an environment that was not AI infested and manifested. But today that is where we are. So we can't be rigid and resistant to the change that we are experiencing and where the globe is headed. However, look at the universities today that are churning out teachers who are going to take these senior school learners through the system. Are they teaching, are they training these would-be teachers in the CBC way? So that is why I'm saying that what we have done is perhaps lackluster in what we intended to have done, especially in ensuring that this system succeeds in implementation.
You see, now himself is a lecturer at the university and is not training these teachers under the CBC system. They are still under the 844, so it becomes a challenge.
Exactly.
Also, for this.
Exactly. And I'm owning up that responsibility, because for us to train these learners into the manner, or our would-be teachers in the manner that would help them deliver, then we need to redo our curriculum. All the universities need to redo their curriculum and ensure that it's in tandem with the current needs and demands of the society. However, that has taken some time, but I am happy since last year something is being done in the universities.
But I like about the issue of the infrastructure. And do you remember there was bond of condition whereby we have the previous minister, especially Amina, who was advocating and for this particular JS schools to be in high school. And even they had moved to high school and built some infrastructure. Some schools even got around 16 classrooms. But when about the 2022 election, now I think issue came up again, and they said now this particular JS should remain in primary. I think based on the World Bank and all that. So the infrastructure actually it's there, but we have some subjects, especially with the social science, and also on the issue of the STEM, especially the pre-tech. You said that we do have some subjects that are already for being offered in some of the schools, but actually we don't have teachers. And we have seen, especially on social media, you've seen even the newspapers and they have some schools that are advertising for those particular years, because they are going to offer like film and dance. You're going to have power mechanics and electricity, but they don't have home science. You see that it's being offered under the grade 10 CBE, but they don't have the personnel for that. So I think that's also an area that they need to move fast, to probably train, and especially probably we have teachers who've done different courses at the university, but which is relevant. They can go in and they do the postgraduate in education programs for 9 months, then they move to those particular schools. Or they can even involve those ones from the TVET to come and assist in teaching those particular subjects. Because definitely when you look at the university, the way it's structured, there's no courses that offer that producing teachers, especially in those particular areas. Those ones who are producing, they are very few. They cannot be able to match the number of schools across the country.
And then another fact is that 1,180 candidates had their results cancelled. It looks like this issue of malpractices, especially in these exams, KCSE, and especially in this KCSE, it is not going away.
That speaks to a challenge that we've had. What yardstick do we use to measure success? I mean, when you see malpractice in the society, it is something that somebody intends to achieve. And why must they get out of their way to achieve what is achievable within the possible means? That speaks to how our society is layered and what we need to restructure, especially so that we can have honest in every level of our operation. It is regrettable that we have such a huge number of learners having their results cancelled because of malpractice, and I think it's an opportunity also to speak to these learners whenever they are. Whatever grade you score, it's that grade that can catapult you into what you want to become in future. It will bring bread on the table. We've heard the CS has spoken of a number that scored D+ and above, the pass, and also mentioned a number that did not score to that level of the pass. But we have technical colleges that will accommodate them, and from that technical college, you can still rise through the ranks. But to go out of your way to get what you have obtained just through the means, I think needs punishment. And severe punishment is important for that. So do we vilify them forever? After getting that result and getting the punishment they have gotten, that their results were cancelled, we need to get to a level where we think of how we can accommodate them in the society to ensure that they're also relevant.
Yeah, I think we have had issues, and these issues, especially before we have the minister, Matiang'i, took over, when he was Minister of Education, and he tried actually to clear this thing because he went and find out, they did a very good research on what is causing this particular irregularity, and they were able to fill some loopholes, and they came with the containers and all that. So I think the issue, this thing is about the limited number of universities. These guys are not having university, all of them, pursue engineering, good courses, so it forces into irregularity. We also have low esteem, lack of confidence. It also forces them into irregularity. Then we also have pressure from the parents also, even the guardians, and also the schools that want to do well to be at the top, the resources, so they can be able to get students, get resources. Parents, probably there's a lot of investment in those particular institutions. So that's has been one of the causes for irregularities. But the way Nani says, a grade will you'll always move across the ladder based on your performance. You can, so from certificate, diploma, and then you'll get your degree up to a PhD if you want to become a professor. And we have had guys who have come from down to a professor, but though it takes long. But some people want to take shortcuts. They don't want to go that long way. So they force themselves into irregularity. But they need to see the loopholes of irregularity, and it works out well. But I'm happy the way the number has gone down. There's a time it was extremely high.
Ironically, the best results you could achieve in this particular exam is an A, score straight an A. But in KCSE, they'll be struggling to get an E.
Yes,
E will be the best.
In fact,
exceeding expectation.
A double E with one.
E1.
Yes.
Yeah. But now they don't want to get E's. But in KCSE, they'll be struggling to get E's and not A's.
Yeah. That's the irony. But
as I had hinted, I mean, our structures in the society compel us to think of success in a manner that compels you to deviate, so that you can score that success that the society expects of you.
Yeah.
So if we can be comfortable with the very little we get and achieve much with that very little we have, if we can start restructuring our society in that manner, then we will have a better society. You'll have no reason to steal exams, to rig elections, to do anything out of the obvious, because you are capable of achieving with whatever smaller means that you have to grow into the larger picture. Yeah.
And as we finish, we got to finish this discussion. This system 844, I think it will come to an end by 2027.
Sure.
Right? Because we have, I think now Form 3 and Form 4. So Form 4 sit next year, this year, this is 2026. And then the Form 3 will sit for the 2027 KCSE.
Yeah, so we'll have double, the university will have double intakes at the university, because we'll also be having grade 11.
Yes.
Grade 12, they also be sitting the first CBE exam in 2027. And that's the time they'll now receive the certificate. Here, they are just getting the result slips.
Yes.
But the first certificate will be given in 2027.
In 2027?
Yeah, the basic education certificate.
Yes.
Sure. So you'll have double intake at the university for the last 844 and the first CBE class.
You
grade 12.
You teach in universities. Are you ready? Mr. Dili?
Yeah, we are ready. The universities have always been ready to take this. And that is why the admission in these universities has been growing from time to time. But there is also something else we can speak to, that the country is strengthening the TVET sector, and we have people who are also scoring, even that's A, and decide to join the TVET. So in preparation for the tertiary, we might not be ready infrastructurally at the moment, but this is something we want to speak to, and I think the universities are ready. Let me give you a very good example of the infrastructure that is being laid. We might not need the physical classrooms. We are now teaching online.
Even the Open University.
Even the Open Universities there.
At Konza.
So how many learners can we teach online in a day, in an hour? We can teach all of them. So if we invest in this infrastructure that enables us teach others online and have others in the classrooms, the physical classrooms, then definitely we can handle all the numbers that are available.
But not the students needing practicals.
No, definitely. The students needing practicals definitely will need a practical scenario, a practical classroom, and I think that is ahead. The country should ready itself for them.
Yeah, these including medicine, engineers, and all those. Of course, the medicine students will need to take them to mortuary. On a later note, Mr. Kombo.
Oh, yeah. I think when it comes to the infrastructure, it's just about strengthening. Though right now, these particular universities, we have some students who are even admitted in private universities, and especially when they brought about the issue of B. You know, we used to have the cutoff where this even went up to a B plane. The SIS went up because they could not be able to be able to admit all the students. So when they bring about the issue of the C+, because the C+, that's the grade, the required grade. So how can the university be able to accommodate all these particular students? So they were not able to accommodate all of them. So they requested the private schools like the Strathmore, Catholic universities. My kid went through to another private university in Kericho. I didn't even know about it, but he was placed there under the COOPs. So still, there'll be a challenge. They cannot be able to meet all these criteria. The double intake, unless they also strengthen the private universities to be able to assist them. But I think when it comes to the education system in Kenya, it has never been having a problem. It always sorts itself as things come by. So once they get all those particular number of students, probably from the CBE and 844 system, they'll be able to accommodate all of them. But now the criteria they'll be using for this one, we are talking about the cutoff points. So the cutoff point, how will it be? Exceeding expectation in all the CBE or meeting expectation? So where the middle? So they need at least to inform the parents early enough. They inform the schools early enough on the cutoff, the minimum grade. They'll be able to be using it for joint admission, because for 844, I think that one is clear. It's a C+.
Yes. Any closing remarks? 10 seconds, please.
Let me speak directly to the graduates, the KCSE graduates. Whatever grade you've scored is the most important grade to take you to the next level. Let your parents accept it, you accept it, and you can start from there to grow into the better person you want to. We want to see all of you contribute to our economy and contribute to the growth of our country.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's a reflective point for the stakeholders and the schools to see where they have gone wrong and where they have gone right. Those ones who've done well, they can be able to strengthen. Those ones who've gone wrong, they can go back to the drawing board and try to integrate. They'll be having two systems in between the CBE and the 844. So let them work out and see how they can be able to integrate the two systems. And those students joining, even today, you're under the CBE system and you've been selected to a school that has not performed well, yes, that is your school. I think work out, and then I think we'll emerge as the best.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. That is, of course, close to my left is Ndindi Henry, education expert and lecturer at Karatina University, and of course, an author. And then on the other far left is Kombo Kikech, education expert, and of course, an author. Thank you so much for making time to us to break down the KCSE results. My name is Giverson Minor, and this has been a special coverage of the 2025 KCSE results that were being released right from Eldoret in Western Gishu County by Cabinet Secretary for Education 1, Julius Migos. My name is Giverson Minor. Until next time, it's bye-bye for now.
Mtu akitoa chafya akasema alhamdulillah, basi Mtume anafundisha, wewe umemsikia, unamwambia ya rahmakallah, na yeye anajibu ya hadiyakallahu wa yuslihu balaka. Haya ni mafundisho ya Bwana Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Hapo ndio tunapata funzo kwamba kiongozi hapaswi kupuuza rai za watu wake. Hata kama wewe ni kiongozi, pendelea kusikiza rai za watu.
وتكون جبال كالإحم المنفوش